Ooh, live from New York, it's Saturday night.
Good God.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to the Knicks Film School post-game show, Summer League edition. My name is Shawn with the W, and I'm joined by my partner in crime from Study Hall. They done put us together on the internet in a visual medium. They done messed up now, and that man is Mr. Kris. Kris, how are you?
Shawn, what's going on? Good to be here, especially with my Study Hall co-host, now my Summer League live stream post-game live stream co-host, following the Knicks 110-101 defeat to the Philadelphia 76ers Summer League team, not star-studded. The Knicks Summer League team, definitely not star-studded. So this was a lot of very aggressively Summer League quality basketball. I think is just the realistic way to put it, but at the end of the game, the Knicks, they shot 47%, 46% from the floor, despite going 3 for 20 from three. So it was bad. It wasn't unwatchable. It was definitely interesting. And you know what? It was fun to see the Knicks hang in the whole time, despite every single thing happening in that game indicating that they should be down by 20 plus forever. So, for as far as Summer League goes, for a roster that has one single draft pick from the team on it, not bad, which is being nice also. It's where I'm at. And you're on mute.
Great. Watching the Knicks struggle from three, pretends to be shocked. Insert pretends to be shocked gif here. And then, like you said, this is not star-studded on either side. It's almost like not drafting anyone in the first round in the last 2 years would actually lead to something like this. Now, I'm not going to be, and I know there's going to be people out there like, this is why the draft's important. We got nobody. But look, I've said this. I said this to anyone who listened. This year, I have the least amount of F's to give about Summer League because we are now a good basketball team that doesn't have to watch Summer League and hoping that the star of the future is somewhere being mined, that we have to mine out of coal. So, I don't have to sit there and convince myself like, oh, maybe Damian Dotson might be a guy. Shout out Damian Dotson, free dot. But yeah, man, that's for John Macri. That is for Jonathan Macri. He's hashtag free dot forever. So Kris, where do you want to start? Is there a particular player? Is there a particular performance that you'd like to point out?
Yeah, Jaden Springer. I mean, I don't listen, man. I wanted to start out here, which was there is no performance to point out for this Knicks team, and the reason being is because nobody on this team is someone who can tilt a Summer League floor, and that's gonna lead to a rough product. Now, because the Sixers aren't all that great, I thought this was a really fun game of basketball. It was fun for me to watch. But you see the Knicks run a 9-man rotation. 9-man rotation.
Mm-hmm.
Not inspiring for a Summer League game. I mean,
it reminds me of the first game of the COVID of which there's 3 COVID seasons. The first preseason game of the 2021 season where Tibbs, for reasons, decided not to play his entire roster or not play Emmanuel quickly, and it's like, why? This game doesn't count. So, but yeah, continue.
I just think that when you have one center in Skopinsev, you have no creators. You have one scorer in Jeffries. You have one play finisher in Charlie Brown Jr., who impressed me. And obviously Jeffries impressed me, 5 for 5 from the free throw line, ready for his opportunities, 7 of 14 from the field. He had the 2 assists on top of the 20 points, like it wasn't just all scoring, and only 2 turnovers. So, nothing too crazy for how often he had the ball in his hands. No one on this team is someone who you're like, oh yeah, they don't need a screen to go make something happen. And so this is the product you're going to get is an uninspiring basketball product that is like at best fun and not that good. Michael Foster Jr. probably the guy I wanted to see more out of, but he wasn't bad at all. I just maybe get him the ball a little more next time, like in a post up. I think Roby was someone they were trying to feature, and it's just really hard for play finishers to look good in summer league if they're not playing with someone like Scoot Henderson or Amen Thompson or someone like even Trey Mann or Sharif Cooper who's going to draw attention from a defense. Like the Knicks don't have guys that are going to draw attention from a defense unless they're like scorching hot like Daquan Jeffries was today. And so, where I'm at is that you just don't have someone on this team who can create without a screen. And so you're looking to projects like Michael Foster Jr., Jalen Martin, to do some creating. You're looking at Trevor Keels, who really did not look ready at all today. Listen, the single game plus minus thing, and this will be my final point before I turn it back to you, Shawn. Single game plus minus is not something that you should ever look at to determine anything. But if you have an inkling, if you have an inclination, if you have some sort of just droplet of a feeling of something, you can go check it out and see what it's going to tell you. Because then if you see it again next game and the next game, there's a pattern, right? Michael Foster Jr. was a -6. Isaiah Roby a -9. Daquan Jeffries a -2 for a team that lost. That feels about right. Charlie Brown Jr. a +1. Okay. Jalen Harris a -4. I thought he was really poor, but he was a smart cutter and made a couple of shots. So I guess Skopinsev a -7, probably a factor of the lineups he was playing with. Martin a -2. Garrett a +7 in his 21 minutes. That was pretty good. It felt like they were always on a run when he was in. Trevor Keels -23. So nobody was -10 or worse besides Keels, who was a -23. And I gotta say, he had 0 turnovers, but 1 for 6 from the field. Only took 1 3 and missed it. Didn't get to the free throw line once. Uninspiring. Again, not bad, not damning, but uninspiring. Just one of my takeaways. Fun in the moment, long term, which is the point of summer league, is you're investing, you're letting your penny stocks duke it out right now, and you're seeing which ones you're gonna fold out of, which ones you want to invest in, send to Westchester, and maybe one of your penny stocks, just one, takes off long term, and that makes this all worth it. Today was uninspiring.
Yeah. So I will say 2 things. One, I have the first rule of Summer League is do not overreact to Summer League. The second rule of Summer League is do not overreact to Summer League. Like you said, Kris, we are trying to find your penny stock that can make you maybe not a millionaire, but 100,000 there, right? With that being said, there's one thing I look for in Summer League. I do not care about the impact of rookies in Summer League because I've seen guys be trash in Summer League and be amazing. For example, Trae Young was terrible in Summer League, and clearly that's not who Trae Young is. And I saw Josh Selby win Summer League MVP, and Josh Selby is so I don't really care about how rookies perform. Like, and shout out to everyone who was called Victor Wembanyama a bust after last night. Like, you need help. But what I do look for is the performance of the second year player, the rising sophomore. Because now you've had a year in the NBA, you're on an NBA roster, you know how it is, you know what to expect. If you struggle, that's a red flag. And if you play well, that's like, okay, we at least have an NBA player. So for me, the 3 guys I had my eye on were Keels, Harris, and Foster, because those are the first year players. Like Daquan Jeffries been in the league 3 years now, 4 years. Actually, yeah, he's been in the league 4 years. So like, it doesn't surprise me that
He's a good,
he's he's an NBA player.
yeah, he's a good 13th man for
Yes,
the
he's an
Knicks.
yes, exactly.
You need guys like him to practice against, and even if you agree with me and dislike Thibodeau's utilization of Ntilikina and man, even he was really only good in transition, but Pinson, like guys that are just like gonna try hard in practice and are hard to go against, like a Frank Ntilikina, like they present value to a team.
Brian
Like
Arcidiacono.
I was just about to say his name and say there's a reason Tibbs loves Arcidiacono so much. That's the class of player you're talking about here, though. Like, you really just got to have fun. If you want to now peel back that first layer, guys that didn't necessarily play well but showed promise, Skopin-Sev was kind of fun. 13 minutes, but 4 for 6. Not great at the free throw line. He did get 8 rebounds. 6 offensive rebounds for him. Just indicative of motor, right? 3 blocks, 6 offensive rebounds. Sounds like a Knicks center to me, right? So, I think that's something. Also 2 fouls in just his 13 minutes. Very much a summer league player, Jalen Martin, Knicks two-way pickup. I gotta say, because I haven't spoken about this in any sort of regard. It is rare in the NBA for a team to give a two-way player a 2-year deal where both years are real. Usually it's a 1+1 with team control on the second year, team option on that second year. And if you sign up for it, you're signing up for potentially being a two-way player for 2 years. They told Jalen Martin, like, hey, we want you to be a two-way player for 2 years and be like a star out in Westchester developing. And I saw why today. 6 of 7 at the free throw line for him. Again, ready for the moment. Super hard worker off the court. He did get 2 rebounds and an assist, not necessarily stuffing the stat sheet, had more blocks. Had more turnovers and fouls with three of each than either assists or rebounds in his 26 minutes. Just 3 of 8 from the field. Again, nothing killer, but you saw flashes with him. Feels like maybe in next year's summer league, he could be someone who could surprise us. I wouldn't say you see anything out of him this season because he's got a lot of little things to iron out.
Really quick breaking news. And if you watched the game, you already heard this, but Greg Popovich just re-upped 5-year extension worth now, as being reported by Woj, over $80 million. 5 years, $80 million for Greg Popovich. Victor Wembanyama, man, like, because if they don't get Victor Wembanyama, he's probably like peace. But listen, so the funny thing about Martin is that he actually wrote his name down, even though he's a rookie, because he was on Overtime Elite. So he was around quote unquote professionals, like, for lack of a better phrase. So I had my eye on him as well. The other player I had my eye on was Khalid Moore. But unfortunately, he didn't get any run. And the only reason I had my eye on him is because he went to
Fordham University.
There we go.
Bronx bred, Bronx
that's
built.
right.
Yeah, they didn't play Moore. They didn't play Race Thompson. They didn't play Shriver. None of the A10 guys played, except maybe one. But QJ Peterson is someone I thought might get run. This Knicks Summer League team feels to me like the Summer League team that was so bad at creating offense, they had to like bring in Chasson Randall mid Summer League to like get them into their sets because they couldn't create any form of offense whatsoever.
We have a super chat. So let me throw. We have a few super chats. All right, let me throw.
Let's get in there. Yeah,
let's get in there. Let's throw one up here first. This is from Jub. Thank you very much for your contribution. Jub says, Shawn, I think you mean the Kevin Knox rule. Also, do you guys think Roby's performance is potentially eye-opening for the front office of Obi gone? So yes, the Kevin Knox rule, but there are so many players. It could be the Kevin Knox rule, the Anthony Bennett rule, the who else? Like, there's so many guys that destroy in summer league, and never they come nowhere near those heights in the league. But yeah, man, like I just learned like, and I remember that Kevin Knox game was like 5 years ago, like this weekend. Because I actually remember watching that game at my friend's house in Brooklyn because they're throwing me a little going away party before I moved to Philly, and I'm just watching Kevin Knox look like prime KD, and I'm like, we may have something, and alas, we did not. But Kris, I'll throw this question to you: what Roby's performance is it potentially eye opening for that coveted backup power forward slot, which has been the talk of Knicks Nation all for the last few weeks, last few days?
I have never in my life seen a group of people that know their team employs a 9-man rotation be so concerned about who's going to fill the missing backup spot in that rotation. Like the answer is nobody. The answer is nobody. There is not somebody on this roster. Isaiah Roby could have had 20 and 10 tonight with 2 assists and 0 turnovers. And the Knicks would go the first however many games of the season, no matter what, with he'd be like allowed to suit up. That would be the extent of his involvement. Josh Hart is going to play the backup 4.
Mm-hmm.
RJ Barrett is going to like play the backup 4. What's that actually going to mean? 4 out, 1 in. Whoop-de-doo.
Listen.
I can't. Yeah, you know what? That's all I've got on this with Roby. I'm listening.
So I'll say this. Well, if that means that we get small ball, it's ironic that Tibbs would embrace small ball after he let the perfect small ball 5 go, but that's neither here nor there. To your point, there's
not
no
perfect to him because Obi doesn't rebound at a rate that Thibodeau liked. That was always the contention. And it didn't matter what else he could do because he was evaluated in terms of how well he could fill up a specific glass. And there was nothing else. There was no melting the candle and seeing how the wax falls and maybe getting something nice out. It was like, can you fit this candle into this holder? No. Okay, then you have to throw out the entire candle because we cannot possibly light it. And, you know, it's as silly as it sounds. And that's why the Knicks traded him for 2 players that are currently in middle school. I just can't. That's where that's at. So, you know, the backup 4 spot, no, this Roby performance was not potentially eye-opening because if Roby was getting a shot, he might still get a shot. He balls out the next 3 games. He will get a shot at the backup 4 in like preseason and not be good enough for Thibodeau probably and won't play. I don't think it didn't matter how he played in these summer league games.
Agreed. So I yeah, like that's basically it. So Jub, thank you for your contribution. Next, Ryan Huang. What's up, Ryan? Good to hear from you again. Hey, Kris and Shawn. I don't care at all about today's game, but who do you both think will be the top 5 Knicks ordered at the end of the season?
Thank you, Jub. Thank you, Ryan, for the super chats. It's a good question.
Yes, it's a good question, and thank you for contributing to the Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Fund tomorrow. So go ahead, Kris.
Brunson, Randall.
Now it gets interesting.
Anunoby, Robinson. What's funny?
I did not, because you said a player that is currently not employed by the New York Knickerbockers.
They wanted the list. They got the list.
I would say so. I think JB and JR. I think Quickly is a good shout. I'm going to use Knicks. I would say I'm going to go out on a limb and say Ron Alexander Barrett Jr. IQ will be 4, and Honestly, it's probably going to be. See, is it 5 best Knicks or 5 most important Knicks? Because if it's 5 most important Knicks, the fifth guy is Josh Hart because he's going to play back and forth. He's
Best
going to
players,
close. He's going to
top five
close.
Knicks.
So, all right. So then, do I think? Okay. So, do I think that who's better, Mitchell Robinson or Josh Hart? Who do I think is better? Who do I think is a better basketball player? You could. I will lean. I will lean Josh Hart. I think Josh Hart's a really good basketball player. He has his limitations, but I think those will be the 5.
But who else? Who else is giving up 478 for him? Who else? Who? Well, the Knicks are bidding against themselves, dude.
Well, hey, I mean, whatever. Thanks, Ryan. Next super chat, and you can read it, Mr. Persianen, because this is about a person who has been. I'm looking in the chat, and there have been a lot of discussions about this player. So, Josh, so focused. Thank you for your contribution, Kris. Go ahead.
Thank you guys for the super chats. Really appreciate it. Let's see what kind of trouble Shawn is about to get me into. All right. What I learned today is that Trevor Keels is an assassin without the assin. Oh, man. He needs to step it up in the next few weeks before he ends up playing overseas.
So, before you say anything, the amount of people in the chat that have been shipping him to Guangdong and France and saying he's not an NBA player, I'll set the over under at 4.3 million. But I will let you respond to that, and then I'll have my take.
I think you learned. I'm gonna amend your statement for you. I think you learned that it is very funny. I think you learned that he is still currently bad. He is currently still bad. He used to be bad. He still is bad as of now. He could still stand to change his physique in a more positive direction. He could also stand to be less turnover prone. And I say this after a game where he had 0 turnovers. But it almost feels like that's a glitch on the stat sheet. Like that just doesn't sound right. And the reason is because he did make passes that led to turnovers. He did make decisions that weren't the best. He is someone who I really think is a ball of clay. But he needs to slim down and stay in the gym shooting, because he either has to get to a point where he's reading the court significantly better, or the mid-range is a layup for him. And we're at neither of those right now, which means his only skill he's providing is like the ability to bump guys off him getting to the basket. That's uninspiring for the 4th time today. We're going to use that word.
Now,
thank you guys for the super chats.
Yes, and I'll say this. And they had Trevor Keels for an extended period of time running point guard. Shout out to Dirty Dancer, who was saying in the KFS Patreon Discord, and if you're not a patron, I don't know what the hell is taking you so long, that he said something along the lines of, this team never puts the young players in a position to succeed. If you can't make the roster, they don't really care about you. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, having Trevor Keels at the point. And I said to him, I was like, well, you know what? It's better. Listen, it's better here now than, at Madison Square Garden. But I mean, listen, having Trevor Keels listen, I'm looking, according to NBA.com, Trevor Keels is a starting shooting guard, and Isaiah Roby, who everyone says is going to be the new backup 4, was our starting point guard, right? So the positions that they're put in matters. But with that being said, as I said earlier, the performances that stand out the most to me are second-year players, and the word of the day is uninspiring. I was not inspired by any of the second-year players. Jalen Martin looks interesting, but uninspiring.
And this, I feel like the most important thing to note as an addendum there is that this could change as soon as next game. It's just with the minutes of basketball that were played today against a relatively weak opponent, That's the takeaway. I thought Petrosev was cool for Philly, right?
Mhm.
I thought Jaden Springer looked like an NBA guy. Turk Smith wasn't even bad. He wasn't good. He was pretty good. I don't think he was like NBA good. I thought he was Summer League good. That's good. Ricky Council the fourth was really fun today.
Ricky
And
Council the fourth, man. That dude,
you
he's
like you like
everywhere.
you liked what you saw?
Yeah,
Yeah,
frisky.
he was on that stacked Arkansas team. So guys like him and Jordan Walsh didn't really get to shine all that much. Um, but I liked them both. I think I had them both in my top like 40, 45. I like both of those guys. And they both were good today. Walsh for the Celtics. You even had Smart for Philly, like wasn't efficient, but 5 rebounds, 5 assists, and a steal. Like he had stuff, these guys had stuff going on. I was disappointed by Azu Tubelis because I had him like in my top 50, but that's okay. That's okay. Just a first game for him, first summer league game. Really nothing about this game is a big deal. Like Charlie Brown Jr., Daquan Jeffries, potential 13th and 14th men for the Knicks that like could play 8 minutes for them because Thibodeau would barely play them if someone was injured. And it was like a meaningless regular season game. So they weren't going to run a 7-man rotation. That we know the Knicks have a set rotation. Like, nope, Roby isn't cracking the rotation unless he puts up 20-point triple doubles the rest of summer league. I just don't. And then also plays well in preseason. I just don't, like this, none of this is going to sway too much for this season. A lot of this stuff is like Jalen Martin, which is someone who may look like an NBA player or a future NBA player in next year's summer league. That's why I almost think they should give guys like Hamilton, Shriver, Moore, Thompson, Blair, Peterson. Like I hope to see like at least half of them in game 2. This is not a team that's going to go win the summer league championship. Just go get reps for guys.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Before we go into the next super chat, I'm looking in the chat and shout out to Fred Stanley who pointed out that we left out Quentin Grimes in our top 5. No chance Quentin Grimes could be one of the 5 best players on our team next year.
I didn't leave out Grimes. I just
Don't
don't
think
think
he's top
he'll
5.
be better at basketball than Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle, who are all NBA potential guys, all-star caliber players.
Oh yeah,
Brunson,
yeah.
an all NBA caliber player. I don't think Grimes will be better than Emmanuel Quickly. I think Quickly is about as good as Grimes on defense. I think Quickly is better than Grimes on offense. I think Grimes is pretty darn good on both of those things, both of those ends of the floor. That doesn't mean he's better than Emmanuel Quickly. I think Mitchell Robinson is so specialized good at what he's good at that like you have to note his impact. I also think it has to do with coaching. Do you guys realistically see a situation where Grimes is afforded the offensive opportunity that would result in him being able to capitalize on potential opportunities to be considered a top 5 player on the team? I don't. I almost think that the Knicks, like, if the Raptors don't want Barrett for Anunoby and the Knicks are going to do Fournier and a young player, that they might be best served looking into Fournier and Grimes instead of Fournier and Quickly, because the Raptors seem to be switching up their identity a little bit. I think previously they would have liked Quickly, but now extending Gary Trent Jr., drafting Grady Dick, they seem to be into different types of players. Grimes, a great defender and someone with some offensive versatility. Fournier, Grimes, and protected draft picks landing you Anunoby could be worth it. You're left with a team that has a point of attack defender and Quickly, has a wing defender in Anunoby, has 2 all-star caliber players in Brunson and Randall, has a rim protector in Robinson, has a great backup in Hartenstein, has depth guys like DiVincenzo and Hart. If that's the direction they're going in, if Anunoby's going to be a Knick, yeah, I would look into that. And Grimes would also like probably earn opportunity in Toronto really, really quickly, considering the state of their bench guards right now. So, yeah. Could he start over Gary Trent Jr. like soon? Probably. That would be great for him. Still muted.
I'm just not going to mute for the rest of the show.
You've got
it's just me and you.
You're like 1 ball, 2 strikes right now.
Yeah, exactly. 3 years of this, you would think I'd figure this out by now. I will say this: during the emergency live stream where Obi got traded, I made the joke that my son, Zach with an H, has had 3 Knicks jerseys in his life: Frank Ntilikina, RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin. And Jeremy made the joke that maybe next time just get Jalen Brunson because he's the least likely to be traded. I would say the number 2 person I think on that list, well, after Julius Randle, is Quentin Grimes. That will be the jersey I consider him getting. Not that I don't think that what you're saying makes sense, but I think they really, really like Grimes. All right, let's thank you for your contribution. Charles spoke assassin, what the assassin. All right, next super chat. Theronafak. Oh boy, let's try this again.
Theronopoulos.
Boom. You get to read it now.
Theronopoulos says, "Hi from Greece. Hello. Where are you in Greece? Are you in like beautiful Cyprus at this time of year, or like Athens? Don't tell me it's a Santorini sitch. That would be too much for me to handle." Listen. Oh, see, now that's now I want to go on vacation. All right. Hi from Greece. Hello from New Jersey. This summer league team makes me miss Farron Hunt. He could be a 14th player this year. What did you guys think of him when he was here? This is a nice question. This is a real KFS question. Who the hell else other than the Knicks Film School fan base is asking questions about Farron Hunt? That's so damn real of you. That's so real.
And the fact that we have people from Greece watching a summer league post-game live
This is
stream.
KFS, dude. This is KFS.
And shout out to him and or her or whoever and the 216 other people who are watching me and Kris Persiana on a Saturday night in New York discuss a game of players that most likely, if we ever, to quote Jonathan Macri, if any of these guys get extended minutes this season, something went horribly wrong. Or maybe something went horribly right, but most likely something went horribly wrong.
Yeah, so the whole starting lineup got traded for James and Davis, and so they've got no players left, and so Daquan Jeffries is coming off the bench now. God bless. Listen, I liked Farron Hunt when he was here. I liked his body control around the rim, and I thought that given his size and his tools, that he moved intriguingly. Sam Rowe's client, Farron Hunt, so maybe explains why he spent time here. He was like best friends with Jericho Sims while he was here. Jericho not really into Robinson and Hartenstein's shenanigans, as Fred Katz pointed out on his KFS live stream, which was fantastic. I can second that as someone that's been in the locker room. But Farron Hunt and Jericho were like best friends. The only time Jericho would like use the internet was when Farron Hunt would go live from Jericho's Instagram, and they'd just like read comments and talk about them together. Farron was fun around the team, good practice guy, good locker room guy. I also think he understood that if Obi Toppin wasn't getting sufficient opportunity in New York City, he would not be getting sufficient opportunity in New York City. You almost wish the Knicks had him back now, given Toppin's departure, as someone who they could try to groom into a backup four. Let him and Roby compete for that spot. Whatever it is that happens. Just get the best player. I liked Farron Hunt when he was here. I think it's very cool that you asked this question, this very niche question. So thank you for that. Thank you for the international support. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. And I echo Kris' sentiments. I mean, he's like you said, 14th player, 15th, end of the 13th, 14th, 15th player. I've heard the same thing as well. He's really good in practice. Like, he's a professional, and he's probably an NBA player. So I don't think you'll see him on the roster this year, even with his CAA connections. But, like Farron Hunt. So, and listen, once a Knick, always a Knick. So thank you very much for the donation. We appreciate it. Next up, Ben Kim Gervey. Ben, thank you as always. Good to hear from you. What growth have you seen from guys in our system? So I'm going to assume that you're talking about guys in the 9.5 man rotation, and not the guys that we just finished watching. Listen, and it's funny because people say things like, Tibbs hates young players, which he kind of does. Players don't develop under Tibbs, whatever. Listen, Emmanuel quickly was not drafted because of his defense. He wasn't. And the fact where now that he is such an important part of our system defensively, that's Tom Thibodeau. Like, I hate the narrative of Tibbs doesn't develop players, but then young players, but when young players do anything good, it's like they're developing in spite of Tibbs. Like, do you think that these players, like, do you think Emmanuel quickly is doing what the opposite of what Tom Thibodeau is telling him to do? No. So he's like, to me, he's a shining star. I think if Quentin Grimes took, I'm not gonna say a leap, but he took a step forward. I think if Quentin Grimes had played more his rookie year, he'd be a little bit farther along. I'm excited to see where he goes. Mitchell Robinson. Mitchell Robinson used to be, and listen, Mitchell Robinson had all the talent in the world. Now, you won't talk about another Summer League All-Star. Like, go on YouTube after this and go look at the Mitchell Robinson tape from his first Summer League. But Mitchell Robinson couldn't jumped for every single ball that was more than 4.5 feet in the air and consistently got in foul trouble. And those things do not happen as much anymore. That's development. That is growth. And again, to say none of his Tibbs or the other narrative that it's all Johnny Bryant, anything good that happens to the team is Johnny Bryant. It's like, come on. I'm not saying you're saying that, Ben, but those are some examples of growth that I've seen.
I would say quickly is playmaking and passing over anything else. I think working with Johnny Bryant has helped him a lot in that regard, breaking down defenses, showing patience, waiting to make the right read, not a read, and working to. He used to not have any balance between finding his own shot or creating one for someone else. And now he's found that balance in regular season basketball. Next up is finding it in playoff basketball. He has improved in every other aspect of his game. I would assume that improves too. Quentin Grimes has gotten better at making decisions at the rim. He was always pretty cool at getting there. Not always great, just pretty much dumping it off to Mitch was all he did once he got there. Now we've seen some versatility in that. Little pull-up pop-ups, little passes out to the corner, other opposite corner, weak side corner. Growth there from him. RJ Barrett, a tapering of his game, a specialization of his game, focusing more on getting to the rim, less on shots that he can't hit at a reliable clip. He was taking a lot of high volatility shots, especially for him, which meant that you would get terrible performances and star-like performances. And, in the NBA playoffs, you got a lot of high-end role player starter performances from him at a consistent clip. That's development. You also saw, like, during the Atlanta series, RJ learned a lot as well. Mitchell Robinson, fewer fouls, more reliable as a rim protector. Deuce McBride, someone who I think has been hampered by the Knicks system. Always has looked comfortable defensively, but hasn't really grown offensively, I think, due to how short his leash has been when he does play. But when he did get that regular rotation role, I thought the offense began to slowly come along, and we'll see how that continues to grow. But I definitely think he's too good for Summer League. That's not someone, the Knicks could bring him in if they decide they need a play initiator that badly, but I just think it's more worth it to see what you can do with Keels and Jalen Harris and Jeffries, and just let these guys duke it out and see what happens. No one cares if you go 0-4. Just go for it.
Yeah. And the other thing I'll say about Quickly is, like, Quickly didn't have a layup package when he got here. It was floater, 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 floater. And now he clearly does. And that, I'm not going to say that's all Tom Thibodeau, because to your point, Kris, like, Johnny Bryant clearly is instrumental to what's going on in this team behind the scenes. But yeah, players grow. Anyone who said that no young players get better in this system is you have an agenda or you're just not paying attention. I apologize. But I know you're not saying that, Ben. So, Ben, appreciate the comment. Appreciate it. Another super chat. Josso Focus back again. No cheating. Who had a -23 and a ± today? Go. we already went over that earlier. Mr. Trevor Keels, who half of the chat has shipped off to Shanghai, I was a minus 23. But again, it's Summer League. Do not overreact to Summer League. And again, listen, for the first time in a long time, there is not one player on this roster that I'm looking forward to seeing how they're doing because I want them to end up in the rotation because our rotation is pretty good enough, is good enough already. It's pretty good. So that's a problem I'd like to have. Like, you think Denver cares about Summer League this year? Do we think Boston cares about Summer League this year? I mean, Miami might care about Summer League this year because half their roster comes from freaking undrafted free agents. But like, it's good to be like, all right, I'm not depending on games being played in Vegas in July to figure out who's going to join our rotation. Like that, I can appreciate. All right. Jaso focus with another one. Again, thank you for the contributions. We
Thank you,
appreciate that.
Ja.
I might be able to get some hash browns with my bacon, egg, and cheese tomorrow.
Hey,
you want to read this one?
yeah, sure. Jaso Focus, thank you again. As an aside, wouldn't it be great to find undrafted NBA guys like Miami did? Main reason to watch Summer League. At the very least, so far, Jeffries might be one. Yeah, if a DiVincenzo gets hurt, if a Quickly gets hurt, if a Grimes gets hurt, mayhaps, you could see Jeffries playing. I want to say it's more likely you just see the Knicks go with a shortened rotation for however long that player's out for. Now, if it's an extended absence, yeah, maybe they give the other guy a shot. It's like Jeffries. Jeffries definitely the standout thus far over the last 2 seasons, not even just this one. So he's someone who has game. He is not someone who can create in the NBA. But can he be like a Tim Hardaway Jr. style player for the team? Out there to be the worst player on the court for you, but providing utility when he doesn't have the ball in his hands, maybe not a guarantee, but just hitting those open shots, just bringing effort to the table, able to take a dribble and hit a mid-range pull-up, a little bit of versatility.
Yeah, I mean, and it's funny. This happened. John talks about this all the time, where he talks about something, and the next super chat is about it. And here we talk about undrafted guys. It would be amazing to find undrafted guys like Miami does. Like that is found money to the extreme. But there's a reason why. How do I say this? Like guys like for example, Gabe Vincent just got paid. Max Strus just got paid. I actually remember watching Max Strus' Summer League 2 years ago, and I was like, "Oh, this is cute, whatever." But then again, like you saw in the finals, there, Caleb Martin, who was freaking Klay Thompson against the Celtics, disappeared against Denver. Max Strus started a game 0 of 10 from 3. Not that they're bad, but like there's so much high variance with these undrafted guys. Like, and you also have to remember, those guys are in a system. Like, I believe that guys like Vincent and Martin and Strus play in a system that will extract every single ounce of their talent and put them in a position to succeed. And that isn't replicable anywhere else. Like, situation matters. Like, I am curious to see. Like, I think Gabe Vincent will be fine in LA because he's playing with LeBron. I'm curious to see how Max Strus will do in Miami. I'm curious to see. And listen, even on the other side, like Bruce Brown. I like Bruce Brown. Bruce Brown's a good player. Congratulations to him for getting the bag. Let's see what he looks like when he's not playing with Nikola Jokic. So situation matters. But to your point, yes, we should try to find undrafted guys. I think we are trying to find undrafted guys, but situation matters. And yeah, go ahead, Kris.
I gotta say it. You mean the Cavs for Strus?
What did I say?
Heat.
I said, well, sorry, yes. You can listen. You can interrupt me if I'm wrong any single time you want, Kris.
All right.
You can be like, I gotta
I
say
didn't do it, and then it started bothering me because I'm a nerd and a loser, and so
I would have did the same thing to you. So I get it. But yeah,
Good.
I'm curious to see how he'll be on. I'm glad you said that because I would listen to this tomorrow and got mad at myself. I got mad at myself for saying it.
Well,
I
it's
got
like
mad at you for not correcting
not saying it. It's like when the Blazers traded for Robert Covington and they were like, "Hey, you're pretty good at defense, so every single error that someone makes, you got to play free safety and cover it up, and if you don't, we're screwed. Thanks, bye." And like that's what it feels like Strus and it is for the Cavaliers. They are really betting on internal growth from Mobley because they didn't move Allen, which means they don't think Mobley's ready to be a 5. I think he's 2 years and 20 pounds away. Not a problem, just a reality. So for this next year, before he's 1 year away from being ready to play center, maybe they could push him in a year early, especially if they trade Donovan Mitchell and go into more of a rebuild around Mobley. Yeah, I like betting on Mobley's growth at the 4. I just Strus at the 3 feels like you really need Mobley. Like they didn't do themselves any favors there. Strus and Niang isn't exactly inspiring. Theme of today.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, I'll say this: every team has undrafted free agents that they sign after the draft. Every team does it. It's just that they were undrafted for a reason. So guys like Strus and Gabe Vincent, like they're the exception, not the rule. You know, like Milwaukee signed, for example, Milwaukee signed Drew Timme. I love Drew Timme at Gonzaga. Drew Timme's probably going to do very well playing in Europe. He may not be an NBA player, but you know, Milwaukee's still like, you know what? We'll give you a shot.
This is like the Kanye, Lady Gaga. This is like, listen, I like some of the Drew Timme battles in the college basketball. What the hell does he know about rim protection? You know, like he has to play a role in the NBA that he is not ready for. Despite the long blonde flow, Kelly Olynyk reincarnated is not walking through those doors. So, you know, I think Timme is good. I think he's fun. I think overseas being seen as a bad thing is so lame. Like you can go get paid out there more than you'll ever make in the G League. Go do it. Like, oh my God, go play in Italy, go play in France. I know someone who did the overseas path because ultimately there was no draft interest in them, and they just bought their first rental property, like to have passive income. Like that stuff's it's a totally fine career.
And I'll tell you this: I visited my first trip to Spain. I went to Madrid in 2017, and after spending a week in Madrid, I said to myself, you know what? If I were 22 years old and had a lot of money and played in Madrid, I'd have a lot of fun. So there's no shame in playing overseas at all. And although I will say this, in terms of undrafted guys, like I had a thought that it went on my mind. But listen, everyone's trying to do it. It's just easier said than done. So you know, we'll see what happens. All right. Thank you, Josso, folks. Appreciate you. We got another one.
Thank you, man, for the super chats. Thank you all.
David Crockett, thank you for your contribution. Good to hear from you.
Hey, man. What's going on, Dave?
Missed the game, but drop it in to say this KFS roster is hella deep. Stay in the flow, fellas. Thank you.
Salute, man.
That is a testament to one Andrew J. Claudio, who has done an amazing job building this roster,
assembling said roster,
getting guys on two ways, getting guys on exhibit 10s, you know, drafting guys, what have you. So it's a shout out to him.
We do currently have like two-way player. Like it's so funny. Like
we do have guys on two ways.
We went from like I used to be like the intern around here, and now like we have like several of those, and they like do things like more than I used to do. We got like a whole conveyor belt process now. I like it, stepping it up.
Absolutely. So appreciate you. Yes, and yeah. So because this roster is hella deep, that allows things like, you know, that allows things to happen like Andrew Claudio not producing a live stream for Summer League the day before he is scheduled to get married. So
God
we're
bless.
here. We're here to help. And we're here to talk to. There's still 200 people, 201 people who are, again, you could be anywhere in the world on a Saturday night in New York or Greece or Bend, Oregon. See, Robert Cross isn't even here. He's not even here because he's
That's how you
probably
know.
out.
That's how you know. That is how you know. We got
But
the real crazies.
But you are here, and we appreciate that.
Robert Cross is just an AI chatbot.
Yeah, man. But yeah. So I think that's all for the super chats. Anything else you want to share before we wrap up?
Yeah, there was one more thing I wanted to do, which was to take a look, and you know, I know this is maybe the last thing you want to do, but take a look at the Knicks' next opponent because they play tomorrow,
Back
at
to back
5
and
at
back to backs
5:30
in
p.m.
back to backs in Summer League is crazy, but whatever.
Yeah, that is nuts. But they're playing the Brooklyn Nets. So, do you want to, like, if I run through the Nets Summer League roster quickly and we have a little discourse about how that game might look, give it 2 minutes and then wrap up?
Why not? I ain't doing nothing else.
Yeah, cool. So the Nets have Adonis Arms, Texas Tech. You know, he was on the Memphis Hustle last year. Not necessarily someone who I would expect major contribution out of, but could be fun. Armani Brooks was on the College Park Skyhawks. He's someone I would expect production out of. Kennedy Chandler was like 40 or 35th or 45th on my board, his draft. But the Grizzlies did the big no-no, like the forbidden NBA draft thing, which is drafting several guys, drafting 3+ guys in the top 40. The Rockets drafted 4 guys in the first round. One of them's already off the team, and then Ty's off the team from the other year. Both dumped, Garuba and Washington. Memphis did the draft with all those players, Roddy, Chandler, LaRavia. LaRavia didn't show anything. Chandler got waived midseason. Like multiple first round picks or multiple 40 round multiple top 40 picks just never really ages well. So Kennedy Chandler on the Nets roster now maybe can show something. Not sure there. Might just be small at 6-0. Noah Clowney, top 20 on my board this season. Very excited to see him play tomorrow. David Duke Jr. is there. Daquan Jeffries. He just kind of sticks around. Jordan Hall maybe got something going. The rest of these guys, other than
David Duke Jr.
Yeah, David. Yeah, that's what I said. He's like their Daquan Jeffries, Duke Jr. Yeah. But Jalen Wilson, someone who fell in the draft. You know, I know someone, Riley Glenn, who loves Kansas basketball, and he's like, I've never seen like a worse, more productive player. That's not my takeaway. That's his takeaway. But the Jalen Wilson, you know, they got him at 51. Really productive in college, not projecting to translate to any specific role in the NBA. One of those good at everything, great at nothing guys. I think guys like him have a chance to figure out things to get great at, though. So I really am intrigued to see him against a weaker Knicks Summer League roster, see if he can just get some scoring going and kind of extend his lifespan. Only other thing to mention about these Nets, you know, nothing, no notes on Trevor Hendry as assistant coach. My literal only other point is that Dariq Whitehead is not playing because he just got surgery to clean up that foot injury of his, like a second surgery on the foot. I think he would have given the Knicks real problems if he did play. I would have taken him over Jordan Hawkins, who went in the lottery. I would have taken him over a couple guys that went before him. But I get the injury concern. I just also think I really wish he was playing in Summer League this year. He would have been really fun.
Yeah, would have been fun. And I actually remember the comment I wanted to make, like the original Miami Heat undrafted success story, Udonis Haslem. UD played in like France after he wasn't drafted, and he played in France for a year before Miami brought him in. So like, I know, like, it is annoying as you know what to watch Miami turn these quote unquote unknown guys into like legitimate rotation pieces. But like everyone's doing it, but not everyone has the capacity or the ability to develop them. In fact, I remembered someone saying like the thing about Miami is that like the reason why undrafted guys quote unquote work for Miami is that the reason why they go after them is because Pat Riley, the culture that Pat Riley has set requires you to give like 100,000%. And it also requires you to give up, to sacrifice what you want to do and give them everything that you have. And you know who that really works with? That works with guys who will do anything to make an NBA roster. So it's like, you want to take threes? Okay, what we need you to do is set screens and hard roll. And guess what? When you are one day away from playing from and we're not shitting on playing overseas, but like, obviously not everyone is built to move 5,000 miles away from their family. So when you're like one day away from, wow, I might have to move to Turkey to continue my career, you're going to do what they do. But then again, that's the culture they have, and not every team has that. So
that wake up call comes. You saw Wemby got yammed on last night by Kai Jones. Immediately after, he's like making like aggressive passes and setting hard screens. It's like, all right, he woke up. Yeah, we have one more super chat before we
yes,
wrap
we
up.
do. You're going to say his name because I cannot pronounce his or her name because I cannot pronounce it.
Theranopoulos.
Theranopoulos. Okay.
There it is. Gonna ask you both the same question. They've asked Jeremy. Okay, I'm ready. Assume no cap, so pick for fit like this. Would you rather have Paul George, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, OG Anunoby, Levine, Mikal Bridges, Cat? I assume you want us to rank them. I have my ranking ready. Shawn, do you have yours? Do you need a moment?
I know who's in terms of fit. I know who's first, but I don't have them ranked. So I'm gonna rank them while you run off your list.
Okay, so pure basketball fit, I would go Gilgeous-Alexander number 1, Paul George number 2, and that's tough because the Knicks need a wing defender, so I might even switch those. Bridges 3, Anunoby 4, Levine 5, Towns 6. If we're saying there's no cap, but we're factoring in age and stuff, then I'm gonna go SGA 1, Mikal 2, George 3, Anunoby 4, Levine 5, Cat 6. Those are my two lists. SGA is a top 5 advantage creator in the NBA. Talk about guys who can get it going without a screen. He is the picture in the dictionary. Paul George, the wing defender and wing scorer the Knicks need. Mikal Bridges, Diet Coke version of that. OG Anunoby, half a version of that. With OG Anunoby is like you ordered a rum and Coke, and they're like, we only have really bad rum and off-brand Coke, and we just can't make that happen for you. And you're like, okay, what about a rum and Diet Coke? And then like they have bad rum, but they had the Diet Coke. That's like OG to Paul George, like nothing close to the same. But in terms of the wing defense, you're kind of there a little bit. And then Levine, scorer, bad defender, Cat, scorer, shooter, abhorrent defender, magnified by the position he plays. Also, terrible fit given the Knicks just had an offensively talented power forward who couldn't sniff the floor because they won't go small. I guess Towns would get to play the 5 in New York until that went poorly, and then he wouldn't. I think they would like trade Hartenstein to make that work, and then or trade Robinson with someone else to make that work, and then like regret it all really, really fast. So he's definitely last.
So my list is Paul George, Mikal Bridges, SGA, OG Anunoby, Zach LaVine, then 50 feet of crap, and then Karl Anthony Towns. Like you said, Pete, listen, if we literally just took Paul George and put him in that wing spot, the Knicks could make the finals. And like you said, Mikal Bridges is the diet version of that. So in terms of fit, it's those two guys. Like, and then it's SGA because it's freaking SGA. Like,
but I got a note. I say diet because Coke Zero is better than Diet Coke. Like, if Chris Middleton is the Coke Zero version of Paul George, like below that is Mikal Bridges, who's the Diet Coke version.
I'm gonna my goal, as long as I know you, is to get you to stop drinking soda, unless alcohol is involved. And if you
I
do,
never just drink soda. I don't.
okay. And if you do, don't drink Giant Soda or Coke Diet Zero, whatever. I'd rather you just drink the regular effing sugar in Coke than to drink fake ass sugar from Coke Zero or whatever the fuck. I try not to curse. And there
Isn't Coke, but Coke Zero is the better one than Diet Coke.
I
It's
wouldn't
like,
know because
Diet Coke is like chemicals to try and simulate the flavor of Coke. Coke Zero is like, we know this is bad. Here's the best we've got. And I prefer the honesty because it's better to me.
That's that's fair.
And it's like more, it's like not natural, but it's like half a step closer. It's like instead of 8 steps away, it's like 7.5 away.
Yeah. Oh, I'm glad we've gone off the rails.
I just had my mom get me pineapple juice from Trader Joe's.
Good.
So,
pineapple juice, good. Coke Zero, bad.
Yeah.
So yeah, PG-13, Bridges, SGA, then OG, because OG is not as good offensively as people think he is, but he's still good.
You know, I know like a well-known NBA talent evaluator who thinks that he like is going to become a self-creator like in the next calendar year. Like
OG?
they told me last offseason that in the next 2 seasons he's going to become like a no screen pull up mid-range type of guy. So there's faith in him out there from smart people smarter than me.
If that
God
were
bless.
true, I would trade for him now, because if that happened, then we are cooking with gasoline. SGA, I mean, I saw someone in the chat said, oh, it's Theranophalos. I think I got that.
There you go.
He's torn between SGA and PG because SGA is better than Quentin Grimes. Oh no, he said SGA is better than OG. I agree. SGA, while is not the defender Grimes is, not that Grimes is prime Bruce Bowen, but like SGA and your team just make like putting him next to Jalen Brunson is amazing. Levine.
That's I remember Brunson and Mitchell without all the concerns of Brunson and Mitchell is Brunson and SGA. Like, oh, but Mitchell is too small. Okay, what if he was 4 inches taller? Oh, but Mitchell can't defend. Okay, what if he could? Like, well, yeah. Oh, but Mitchell goes silent in playoff games. Okay, what if he could get to the rim? Like, Mitchell can finish at the rim. What if he could get there, like just like walk right into the paint? I don't know.
And then Zach LaVine, I've said my thing about Zach LaVine, even though Jeremy made a very good, astute observation about like, it's not as bad. And then, as I said before, I said on Casual Friday, I say it again, I do not want Karl-Anthony Towns within a 50-mile radius of Madison Square Garden, and I am clear. And with that is it. I cannot believe we spent an hour and 4 minutes discussing Summer League, but I enjoyed discussing that with you, Kris, and with the still 166 people still watching. I appreciate that. I appreciate you all.
Those are our crazies, man. Salute to you guys. If you watched this stream, thank you. If you are listening later, thank you. If you left comments, thank you so much for supporting and engaging with our community. There are people to talk to in the chat while you watch this. Like, you can write, anyone else think the guy in the glasses is a moron? And someone else will be like, yeah, get him off the screen. Like, you guys can talk to each other. You're a community. You're our family. You're each other's family. Like, thank you guys for being here and contributing to that community. And last, but certainly not least, if you left a super chat, Shawn and I thank you so much for voting for us with your government coupons, showing support. Thank you very much. The Bacon, Egg, and Cheese Fund is strong. The brand is strong.
The brand is strong. All right. So tomorrow the Knicks, the summer Knicks will play the summer Nets. We will not be here to break that down. Why? I mean, if you're paying attention to what's been going on, you can figure that out. But listen, thank you again. We appreciate you. Stay locked in to KFS all summer. I've already told Andrew I have some draft ideas I want to get off in like August and early September, and I think we're gonna get them off. Study hall will be back when I don't know, but it will be back because I would love to yell at people who act about the Obi Toppin trade. But that'll be fun. That'll be fun. And just if you're not a patron, what are you waiting for? Sign up now, become a patron. We have tiers starting from the Mellow tier to the Monroe tier to the Ewing tier. What are the prices? If you're a Knicks fan, you should know what the prices are based on the names that I just said. So for Kris Persianen, I'm Shawn for W. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Knicks Nation, let's ride.